So what we're going to be doing today is looking at these ultra fine glitters, and I want to see if they sink in the resin, because obviously we know a lot of glitters do sink in resin, although I have got a couple of tips on how to stop that happening. Now these are ultra fine. They're supposed to be a body glitter. Then they do look finer than normal, but they don't look really fine, those particular ones. But I have also got these ones, which are the nail art ones. They come in smaller packs, and you've got to be really careful not to get these off. And they're virtually the same size as well, but they do feel a bit smaller than normal glitter. So hopefully we will work our magic with those. For this experiment, I'm going to be using two different molds. I'm going to be using this larger mold to give it more depth to sink if it's going to sink, and this smaller mold as well. And I'm also going to be using a fairly thin resin, which is the Crystal Clear by T-Expert. I love this resin as well. It's a brilliant resin, gives great results. What I also need to do is to ensure that whatever resin I'm using in here is as bubble free as possible, so that the bubbles aren't making the glitter rise and preventing it from falling. It needs to be as fair as possible experiment, that's for sure. So I'll definitely be using my resinous degasser to remove any of the bubbles that are in the resin before I pour it. And you'll see the massive difference that makes as well. Now I've got my resin mixed up, what I'm going to do is put it in my resinous degasser. Now, I've had a lot of people comment on, oh, mine bubbled over when I was using it and made a mess. Well, I always put a bit of a silicone mat in the bottom of mine anyway, just in case. But it's really important that it will bubble over, because it's getting rid of the bubbles, that you never fill it more than half full, your container. Also, the type of container that you use is really important too. These ones with the straight edges to them give a much better result than silicone jugs, unless it's a brand new silicone jug, because actually silicone jugs get little indents in them and things like that, and as a result they trap the bubbles. The other thing I wouldn't do is don't add your colours or anything like that, glitter or anything like that, to it until you've removed the bubbles itself. All you need to do is put your two things in there like that, plug it in. Make sure your little valve here is shut, and whichever model you're using, they all have these little valves. And then turn it on, and with this model, I've got the AI version. But there is another model as well, which is the lower cost model, which you just push the button and it starts. And I'm using this one today because it's the first one I grabbed. And I want this on for 9 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to start that. And now that'll ramp up the vacuum in there. My little valve's all nice and shut. And I'll leave that to run for 9 minutes. See, that's what I mean by bubbling up. They have come up and they've raised up. It's about an inch from the top. So if you had those fuller than that, it would actually overflow. And you don't want that because you're just losing your resin. And this is nearly coming to the end. There we go. It's finished now, and it's bleeping to tell me it's finished. Now, what I would recommend is that you leave this like this for about 30 seconds before you let the air out, and then once you've left it for 30 seconds, let the air out, and you'll get a great result from it that way. So that's been 30 seconds. What I'm going to do is now release the pressure by just undoing the little valve there. Once all the pressure's out, you should be able to take the top off and take your resin out of your resinous bubble remover. And again, before you use it, I would suggest you leave this for about a minute. But look how lovely and clear that is now. It's practically bubble free, apart from a few that are still sitting on the top, and they will burst easily, or you can burst them using a little silicone item here. But if you leave it a minute, you'll find that they will disappear. No problem at all. And these are reusable. I clean them out all the time and reuse them. And I use big wipes for that, and it cleans them out perfectly. So what we need to do now is to add our glitter. Now I'm going to use this colour here. I don't know why I chose this one, but I just did. And I want to put quite a bit in there. And now I need to mix that in with trying to avoid mixing many bubbles in there at all. Here's a much finer glitter. I can feel that as I'm mixing it in. So I don't know if it's going to flow or if it's going to sink. Certainly not one of my favourite colours, that's for sure. But it doesn't matter, this is an experiment. But that is a very fine glitter, and I've put a lot in there as well. And now what I'm going to do is pour this in. I want to pour this down the side of the mold to try and avoid adding too many more additional bubbles. Do a bit of squidgy widgy around the ears and the necks of these, and then fill it right to the top. If any bubbles come up to the top now from pouring or anything like that, then I will burn those off with a long neck lighter. Never a torch, remember. You don't want to be burning off with a torch because it will destroy your molds. It might not do it first time, you might get away with it, but honestly, I've shown it in so many videos what happens when you get mold burn. And it ruins your molds, and it ruins your actual piece as well. So again, a bit of squidgy widgy around there and there. And this is a large mold. I'm pushing the boundaries of the resin here on how deep to pour it. But I want to have the most volume I possibly can have to allow that resin to either sink or swim. I don't know if I make these videos for your entertainment and to pass on this information all for my own, to be honest, because it does make me laugh. There we go. So perfect amount there. Quick burn off, and now we'll let these cure up overnight, and then we can take a look. I'm not sponsored by this glitter company, I just happen to find them, so if it does work, then brilliant. I will link them and everything else I've used today in the description below, so don't worry about that. So we'll give that another 5 minutes before we put them away and cover them up to cure. Big thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your membership and all your support. I learn so much from members as well, and I'm on there every day, and we have great discussions and share information. So if you want to become a member, the link is in the description below. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you for any of my videos and my experiments, I'm currently saving up for a new machine that I want to test, and if it works, then brilliant, and I can't wait to share it with you. And if you want to buy me a coffee, the links for those are in the description below, and you get your name on my coffee board. Right, I'm happy now to put those away, and hopefully that glitter is going to stay where it is. So I'll quickly show you how easy it is to clean these cups out. All I do is scrape any spare resin that's in there out. Don't need to scrape it right out, but like when you've got a lot like that, you want to get rid of it. Then I use the Big Wipe spray. Again, not sponsored by Big Wipes, I just happened to find it. Spray some in, leave that there for about 30 or 40 seconds. I also spray my spatulas as well and my mat. Honestly, this stuff has been a godsend since I discovered it. I ought to contact the company and ask them if they'll sponsor me. Once that's been sitting there for about 30 seconds, I just take one of the big wipes like this and then wipe everything down. And these big wipes last for ages. I use one probably for about 2 hours. Look how lovely and clean that has got, that spatula. I'm just sharing this with you because I know a lot of people get fed up with the stickiness of resin and being able to clear it up. And this really helps. And it also seems to condition your molds as well when you clean your molds up. So let's clean that up. And then in here, I just need to go around and clean that out. Clean it all the way around. And that's that one clean. I'll wipe it dry in a minute. And then the same for these little plastic cups. Let's give it a good old going round with this stuff. It works on silicone as well. So if you've used silicone and you want to clean up silicone, it's also I can't speak highly enough of it. Big Wipes, if you're ever listening to this, please get in contact with me and give me a discount code or something for my members. And then all I do is take a bit of kitchen towel like this and then dry it. This is how come I get so much use out of my gloves as well now, because I kind of clean my hands with it and then use my gloves over and over again. And the same for these ones. All you need to do then is get yourself a paper towel, wipe it out, and you'll find that all the glitter will be gone as well. And if there's one or two little bits left, get a bit of sticky tape and take it out. I always do the outside of the cups as well. Look at that, lovely and clean now and ready to be used again. You don't have to throw them away, doesn't take long to clean, and it saves you money. Well, these should be all cured now, and they should be bubble free as well, because obviously we put this in the bubble extractor, the resin first. So far it's looking positive, as if this ultrafine glitter has actually stayed suspended. And this is quite a thinnish resin as well that I've used here to give it its best opportunity. And if this does work, then it saves you having to spend all that money on these specialized resin glitters that are meant to not sink, and that has not sunk. And that's a really, really, that's quite a deep mold from there to there, and that has given an excellent result. And not a single bubble in there I can't see. Look at the smaller one to make sure it weren't just a fluke. And again, that has worked really well all the way through there. Lovely and ultra fine and sparkly. I'm so pleased I found these. You get all these colours. Honestly, it's not sponsored by this company at all. I just happened to find them and thought, I'm going to give that a try. I will link them in the description below, but you get all those colours and they're not really expensive. And look at that amazing results, not a single bubble. And that is down to the Resiners Degasser, which I'll also link in the description below. There's two different ones, so I'll link both of them. And if I've got a discount code for that, I'll also link that as well. I wouldn't be without mine now. And if you want to know more about that, check out the comparison video I did where I did it on a clear resin and cured them up as well. I'll link that at the end of this one. And boot that like button, hit that subscribe button. But most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.